guest is father to not one, not two, not even three children, but 150.
For the last 12 years, this sperm donor has been helping women to conceive, but his preference for natural insemination continues to cause a little bit of controversy. And obviously, this isn't his real name. Joe Donor joins us now. Joe, welcome.
Joe.
Thank you very much indeed for talking to us today. When did this start and why?
Well, thanks for having me on your show. I started donating in about 2008, and I'd had some illegitimate children, and that caused a lot of consternation. So, on the other hand, I was very happy to have these children. So, I looked for other methods to do this, such as, sperm donation, which is something that, the women would prefer, and it wouldn't interfere with my life.
OK, I mean, so this is 12 years you've been doing this, and you fathered, we think, around 150 people. You've kept a spreadsheet, and this is global. I mean, this isn't just in the States. You travel all over the place.
Yes, that's right.
Well, there are people that say that that in itself is irresponsible, because what are the safety measures in place for any of those children, random as it may be, coincidence it might be, to get together and have a relationship, because they're not on a register, it's not official?
Well, no children are really on a register. And the fact is because I'm helping these children, very few of them are in the same zip code. If they happen to be in the same postal code. If they happen to be in the same postal code, probably the mothers know each other, and if they were to go to the same high school, for example, they would probably know each other. And the chances of those children meeting each other, if they don't happen to live in the same zip code, would be astronomical. And this is not something that any other child would be immune to, because no father is required to do the DNA testing to go on a birth certificate. So a woman could easily put any man's name on the birth certificate, even if that man isn't the father of the child, and the father might not even know. And then if he lives in one particular area and he happens to have another child he doesn't know about, you would face this same risk.
Mm. And so on average, I think you fathered sort of 10 children a year, and you say, I mean, you're very successful at this. So what is that? What is the secret to that?
I think probably it's just the volume of sperm. And you see, sperm on average, they may live for up to 5 days, but they're really only able to fertilize the egg for about 2 days. And of course, some sperm are going to swim faster, some slower. The ones that swim faster would fertilize sooner if the woman happens to be ovulating sooner. The ones who swim slower would live longer if the woman happens to be ovulating further away from the time that you actually have intercourse. And in my case, because there's a large volume of sperm, there's going to be more sperm reaching the egg at either of those dates, which probably results in more pregnancies from these types of, non-relationship pregnancies.
Well, I mean, it's a very noble thing to provide people who can't have children with the dream of having children. However, I think what makes people a little bit more open-eyed here is the fact that the women have, I think, something like 50% of them have said, right, OK, they don't want it through the post or however else you deliver it, but they're prepared to have sex with you. A stranger, someone they don't know, would you just knock on the door, wander in, do the deed and leave?
Well, yeah, I try to get out there as fast as possible because, I don't always know what's going on with people. But perhaps 50% of my successes come from a natural insemination, but more women want the artificial insemination. The natural is more effective, so those who choose that, have a proportionally a larger part of the births. Works out to about 50-50 of births, at least a birth.
Do they all tell their partners that you're coming round?
No, that's the reason I tend to leave quickly. A few times, well, as you know, in the United States, everyone has a gun. And sometimes the partners come home and, oh, my God, what's going on here? And, the guns come out, and that's when I try to leave.
Oh, my gosh. I mean, that is horrific. Can I just ask how safe this is? Because the nature of what you're doing, you can't have protected sex. So how do you know that you're not opening yourself up to any sort of sexually transmitted disease or passing on all these women that you've slept with to other women?
Well, there's simply no way to exchange, biological materials without some type of theoretical risk. Even sperm banks do not test any of the sperm that they use. Sperm banks only test the blood of the donors.
There was a screening process in place. I think if it's regulated here, there is a screening process that would offer you a level of protection, way more than what you're currently offering.
Well, I have annual testing, which is what our Surgeon General recommends. And so far, if someone wants it more frequently, I'll test more frequently. But so far, no one's had any problems. No one's gotten sick. So out of 150 births, I would say if there's any risk, it's very, very slim. And it's probably a lot safer than IVF, where you have, hyperovulation syndrome and things like that going on.
So, the woman will organise this with you. Her partner, some of the partners, most of the partners, by the sound of it, don't know anything about this, so they've been struggling to have children. He goes out to work or to the pub, and then he comes home, and then miraculously, a few weeks later, she's pregnant, then has the baby that doesn't look anything like him, looks like you. How does that go down in a relationship?
Well, I don't think it's an absolute mystery what's going on. If a couple's struggling with fertility, what they really want to do is they want to fit into society. And there have been a few partners who didn't know anything, but the majority of partners, they're in on it, at least to the extent that they want to be in on it. Some of them would prefer not to know all of the details. And, I'm just helping. The woman contacts me. I don't investigate her to figure out any of her story. I respect her privacy. She'll tell me what I need to know, which is pretty much the date her last period started. I calculate the most likely time she can get pregnant, and then I meet her on those dates.
So is it like just sort of cold, clinical, mechanical sex?
It's kind of more like Star Trek, going exploring the unknown, going to where no man has gone before. It's an exciting event. But, it's not extremely sexual. I don't sext with people. I don't send, naked pictures and things like that. We're excited about creating a new life. I would say it's definitely exciting.
So is that, because I wonder what it is you're getting out of this. And I know, obviously, like Phil said, it's a very noble thing, helping a family.
Well, hell of a job if you can get it.
Hell of a job if you can get it. But is it a job? I mean, is it a job in the same way as other people have a job? Is there money being exchanged here? Like, how much do you charge?
Well, I don't really charge. I'm lucky if I break even on travel expenses. So if someone helps out with the travel expenses, that's always welcome. But, it's just like a doctor. A doctor, he saves lives, but then he also drives his Rolls Royce to the golf course. I'm creating lives, but I'm not driving a Rolls Royce to the golf course. It's more blue collar type of work for me. So
in lockdown, I think you were in Argentina, and you said that there have been 5 successful pregnancies.
Yes, that's right. I have 5 on the way. At first, the lockdown, we thought it would only last for a little while, but it seems like it's going to go on forever. So we have to get on with our lives. And, for some women, if they're approaching their biological clock, they simply can't afford to wait a year for all this to work out.
So that's 5 successful pregnancies in Argentina during lockdown. How many attempts?
Geez, I don't keep records. There wasn't a whole lot to do during lockdown, so I kept myself busy.
So you don't sound like you're being particularly responsible when it comes to social distancing or quarantining or indeed lockdown.
Well, we wear a mask and we use those positions which are going to lessen, stay 2 meters apart or whatever.
Right. OK. All right. Well, thank you for talking with us today. It's certainly fascinating.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Wow. Wow, wow, wow.